All right, everybody. This is 5 Questions on the Scene Snobs Podcast. This is where I sit down with my guest co-host each week, and I'm going to ask them 5 questions, movie-based, of course, and get to know them a little bit better. So let's get into it. My co-host this week is Jason Taylor from the 3 Geeks Podcast. Thank you so much for joining, man.
Of course, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too, dude. I am. I can't wait to hear your answers for these. And I have to admit, because I thought about this the week before you were on, so like in preparation for everything, some of these questions, like specifically, I was like, I want everybody to answer, but I was like, I want to see what Jason says.
Okay. So, I'm down. This is gonna be fun.
You are the first person to do this. You're not the first guest co-host, but you are the first person to answer these questions. So really, they were garnered towards you in the beginning. So you should be like, that's pretty cool if these like take off or do well, but like you are the guy.
I love being the guinea pig.
All right, man. Well, before we get started, well, actually, no, let's just jump right in. Why not? All right. So first question. Do you remember your first movie theater experience? What was the movie? What was it like? And if not, can you share another experience in movie theater?
That is a very good question. I think, yeah, the first movie experience I remember is I wanted to see Beetlejuice. And Beetlejuice was before Batman 89. Yeah, that's right. So I wanted to see Beetlejuice. And my uncle was like, yeah, we'll go see Beetlejuice. He ended up taking me to see Good Morning Vietnam. I was, I don't know, 5 when the movie came out, maybe 82. So it would have been right around 5 years old. And I thought we were going to see Beetlejuice, but apparently Beetlejuice wasn't out yet. And he took me to see it. I just remember being shocked at how much the F word was used in the span of 2 hours. Like, I had never heard it that much. And I haven't seen the movie in a while, so maybe it's not as much as I remember. But as a kid, I just remember hearing that word like obsessively in that movie. And that's like really the only remembering I have of that. It's being tricked out of seeing Beetlejuice and then going in and hearing all of these new words that I had never heard before.
Oh, man. Well, does the movie still resonate with you?
Yeah, I still enjoy the movie. I haven't seen it in a little while, but yeah, no, it's a great movie. It's Robin Williams.
That's very cool. Yeah, that's true. All right. My next question is, what is a movie that reminds you of your childhood?
I'd say The Wizard of Oz. I've seen that movie more times than I can count. I remember my dad used to work at Napa Auto Parts. I remember going to work with him and getting a tin cap and, car parts to make myself look like the Tin Man. I could do the movie as a one-man show, and I used to do it as a one-man show when I was like 6 or 7 in the basement of my parents' house. Yeah, The Wizard of Oz. I loved that movie. It's like probably the first movie that really got me into when I was 3. And this is going to be me bragging a little bit. I programmed the VCR to record The Wizard of Oz at 3 years old because movies were a huge part of my life even back then, to the point where I found a way to teach myself how to do this at such a young age. But yeah, I remember doing one-man shows to The Wizard of Oz for at least the first 8 years of my life.
That's fantastic, dude. That's a really cool story. I'm glad you shared that with me. Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Wizard of Oz in a while. I think I overdid it a lot when I was younger, but I do need to sit down and watch it again. But I still consider that my favorite movie of all time.
You know what? I gotta. I don't know that I call it my favorite, but it's definitely one that I don't think I've ever grown. I don't think I will ever grow tired of. It's still 1939, and it still holds up in my opinion.
Yeah, and the hip hop fan of me really loved The Wiz too when I was super young.
Well, did you ever see this? Like the unofficial Walter Hill sequel?
Return to Oz?
The Return of Oz. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie too. The wheelies scared the hell out of me. They still scare the hell out of me. I have to jump behind the couch if I'm going to watch it.
Oh man,
the lady with the heads. Oh, forget about it.
They really were, dude. They were really scary. We got to figure out one day who's scarier, that lady or the lady from Superman 3, which turns into like the robot lady. She frightened the hell out of me as a kid. All right. Well, question 3. Who is a character in a movie that you really look up to or looked up to at some point, that, maybe helped, shape you in a way?
That is a very good question. That is one of the best questions that I've ever been asked. Person shaped me in a movie. I mean, I guess in a lot of ways, it's not a character in a specific movie, but Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Like, that was a huge part of my life. Like, I used to think it meant quality. Like, oh, Van Damme has 4 movies coming out this year. Woo-hoo! Like, as an adult now, I see why he had 4 movies come out every year. But, they still resonate with me. But every time my dad and I seemed to go to the movies over the summer, we always saw a new Van Damme movie. So I associate going to see Jean-Claude Van Damme movies with my dad. So in a lot of ways, those were the movies I looked up to and looked forward to seeing every time a new one came out. Quality did not matter with Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Still doesn't. I still love all of his movies, but yeah, I'd have to say Jean-Claude Van Damme movies just because they were such a big part of my life, like The Wizard of Oz was.
Well, so Jean-Claude Van Damme, is there like one or two movies of his that you really resonate with that you watch more than anything else?
Nowhere to Run and Lionheart.
Wow, those are cool picks because they're not like the fancy choices that you get when it comes to Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like those are the legit, like maybe Lionheart a bit. I think Lionheart has gained more cult appreciation over the years, because I remember just being straight to video, and like if you were fans of Jean-Claude Van Damme, you liked that movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
but I saw Bloodsport later. I remember renting Lionheart with my dad from Farmore. It used to be a place, it was kind of like CVS here that would rent movies. They were the only place that rented Game Boy games too, so fond memories of going there. But yeah, Lionheart was one I specifically remember renting there, taking it home and watching. Again, another movie that had a lot of F words in it when I was young that maybe I saw a little too young, but whatever. It's a good movie.
Helped shape us.
Yeah. And Nowhere to Run had Fuller in it from Home Alone.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Wow, that came later then, didn't it? Was that early 90s or was that late 90s?
It was, I think, 93, 94.
Nice. Very cool. All right. Question 4. Can you share a time or memory when a movie made you have a strong emotional reaction?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Man. Yes. I'm trying. Logan. I had a strong emotional reaction watching Logan. At the very end of Logan, when he's dying, because I saw it with my daughter, who was young at the time. I think she was probably too young to see Logan again, but that just runs in my family. She was sitting next to me. He's dying, and she's by him when he's dying, and it's just all of it happening at once with my daughter right there. It really, really resonated with me.
That's awesome, man. That's a great answer. That's a great answer because Logan is that type of movie. And, I know I tend to, for me in my life, having sons, like movies where sons are prevalent, tend to resonate with me, especially sons that are like opinionated, they tend to really, resonate. But I've never heard Logan. I've heard a lot of movies with guys who have daughters, and it connects with that correlation of having a daughter, but I've never heard Logan, and I really like that answer.
Yeah, Logan, and then I second recently would be Instant Family with Mark Wahlberg, because I have stepkids, and outside of stepkids, I have other kids that look to me as a father figure, so that movie really hit home too.
I love that, dude. I love it. All right, our last question. You ready for it?
Yep.
What is another thing about you that you'd like the audience to know outside of movies?
I am hip-hop's biggest fan. I love the genre. I love the genre since I was 3 years old. Like, I don't know where it came from because none of my parents, nobody in my family listened to hip-hop, so I have no idea how it started, but I just remember being obsessed with it.
You grew up at the right time.
Yeah, I was obsessed. It didn't matter how good the rapping was. I had a lot of Christian rap CDs that my mom would buy me because she was trying to, get that more into my life than some of the other hip hop that I would listen to. But I just was obsessed. Whatever I could get that had a beat and somebody rhyming over it, good or bad, I was into.
Well, we're going to get into it on the show, where we talk about hip hop and movies, but I'm going to save the favorite for here. Okay. So what's a favorite hip hop song that was used in a movie really well? It doesn't have to be your favorite hip hop song, but like a favorite scene maybe where a hip hop song was used that really just like you were like, this was perfect.
This is perfect. 21 Jump Street, Jonah Hill going to high school with the real Slim Shady playing in the background. He's got the blonde hair. It really encapsulated the early 2000s high school. Like in an image, it encapsulated the early 90s scene. And I had bleached blonde hair back then too. So there's that extra added bonus on top of it. But I love that scene, and I love the use of the song because, again, that song encapsulates that time that they were trying to show within the film. So that's my pick.
That's awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming out and doing the 5 questions with me. Guys, this is Jason Taylor from the 3 Geeks podcast. Go check them out. They're fantastic. Everything is linked below so you can check it out. Now, I know you probably listen to this on a podcast down the line, and this isn't Jason's episode. So you should go back and listen to Jason's episode because we had a really great conversation. It was a lot of fun. This is 5 questions. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stick with it. Go check them out. Thank you, Jason, for joining in. I really appreciate you. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.